Daily learning.
The beauty of my cottage on the edge of the city. I want to tell you about my little cottage in the edge of the city because living there is one of the things that makes me feel really peaceful and happy. It is not a big house. Actually, it is very small, but I feel like it has a heart, and every corner of it feels warm to me. I like the way it is not in the center of the city because the center is always noisy, busy, and full of people. In the place where I live, it feels more quiet, more slow, and I can breathe easily. It is like a soft pause from the big and fast world outside. My cottage is simple. The walls are not very new, and the floor sometimes makes a little sound when I walk, but this is exactly what makes me love it. I like the sound of the wooden floor because it reminds me that I am home, that I am not in some cold building, but in a place that has character and history. When I wake up in the morning, I like to open the small window near my bed, and the first thing I see is the soft morning light that comes through the trees. It makes me feel like the world is slowly waking up with me, and it makes me smile. Sometimes, I can also hear birds singing right outside the window, and their sound feels like they're saying good morning to me. That little moment in the morning is one of my favorite times because it is simple, but it feels so full of life. In the kitchen, which is not very big, I like to make a cup of warm tea or coffee and just sit near the small table. The table is by the window too, so while I drink, I can look outside and see the garden and the street that is not so crowded. The garden is not big either, but there are flowers, some green plants, and even a small bench where I like to sit in the afternoon. I think the garden is one of the things I like the most because even if it is small, it feels like my own little world of nature. When the flowers bloom, the colors make the whole cottage feel alive. I like to touch the petals and smell them, and sometimes I just sit and watch bees or butterflies move from flower to flower. It makes me remember how beautiful small things in life can be, and it makes me thankful. The time of day I like the most in my cottage is the evening, especially when the sun is going down. The light in the sky turns soft orange and pink, and it touches the windows and the garden in a gentle way. I usually sit on the little bench outside with a blanket and watch the sunset. Sometimes I bring a book, but many times I don't even open it. I just sit quietly and feel the air becoming cooler, and I listen to the soft sound of leaves moving with the wind. In those moments, I feel calm, like nothing bad can really reach me. The cottage feels like a safe place where I can just be myself without pressure. I like that feeling a lot because life outside can be stressful, but here it feels like I can breathe again. Inside the cottage, the rooms are small, but they feel cozy. I put some pictures on the walls, and also some little lamps that make a soft, warm light. At night, I usually light a candle or two, and then the whole room feels magical, like a quiet secret place only for me. I like the way the shadows play on the walls, and I like how the light makes the room feel even more intimate. Sometimes I sit on the couch with a cup of tea and just listen to music or read something light, and other times I write in my journal about how my day went. These nights are very special to me because they make me feel connected to myself, like I can hear my own thoughts clearly. I think this is one of the biggest reasons I love living here. The cottage gives me the space to feel peaceful with myself. The neighborhood around my cottage is not crowded. There are a few other small houses, and most of the people are kind and quiet. Sometimes, we say hello when we meet on the street, but we do not bother each other. I like this balance, because I do not feel lonely, but I also do not feel too crowded. On weekends, Sometimes children play in the street with their bikes, and I like to hear their laughter because it makes the whole area feel alive. But when the night comes, everything becomes very calm, and only the sound of crickets or a dog barking far away can be heard. I think this is the kind of balance that I enjoy, not too noisy, not too empty, and just enough life around me. One thing I really like is the way the cottage smells. Maybe it sounds funny, but the mix of wood, flowers from the garden, and sometimes the smell of tea or bread in the kitchen makes the air inside very comforting. When I enter the house after being outside, that smell greets me, and it feels like the cottage is hugging me. It is a very soft and warm feeling, and I don't think I can find it in a big apartment or a modern building. That is why this place is very special to me, because it feels personal, like it understands me. Another time that I enjoy a lot is early morning in the winter, when the air is still cold and the grass outside has little drops of dew. The world feels so fresh and silent, and I like to wrap myself in a sweater, open the door, and just stand there for a while, breathing deeply. Sometimes there is a soft fog, and it makes the street and trees look mysterious, almost like they are hiding secrets. I really love this moment because it makes me feel like I am inside a dream, but it is real. And then, when I come back inside, the warm air of the cottage feels even better, like a safe nest after touching the cold. I also like rainy days here. When the rain falls on the roof and the windows, it makes a soft music that I never get tired of. I like to sit near the window with a blanket and watch the drops racing down the glass. Sometimes I make soup and the smell mixes with the sound of rain, and it feels like the world is closing its eyes for a little nap. On these rainy days, I feel very thankful that I have a small cottage to stay inside because it feels like the rain is protecting me, not bothering me. It makes me feel lucky. So, even though my cottage is small and simple, it is full of things that I like. The mornings with birds, the evenings with sunset, the quiet nights with candles, the garden with flowers, the rain on the windows, the smell of home, and all of these small things come together and make me love living here. It is not about big luxury or expensive furniture, but about feelings, about peace, and about the way this place makes my heart rest. I think that is why I can say honestly that I really love living in my little cottage on the edge of the city, because it gives me something that money cannot buy, a home that feels alive, gentle, and safe.